James made his film debut in The Visitor and then played a small but memorable role as Barbra Streisand's college boyfriend in The Way We Were. During his 2 decades as a star, James has received 2 Oscar nominations. And if you want to applaud any of these titles, just go right ahead. We don't usually do these at, just so you know, we usually do them at 11 in the morning and they go bonkers every time I mention the film, so here we go. Where was I? During his 2 decades as a star, James has received 2 Oscar nominations for the film Salvador. All right, now you're getting in it. And last year for The Ghosts of Mississippi. He is also the recipient of 2 Best Actor Emmys along numerous stage, screen, and television awards. He has moved effortlessly from big box office studio films to festival-celebrated independent features, from comedy to drama. His versatility and range is reflected in his roles as White House Chief of Staff H.R. Haldeman in Nixon, a sleazy, all right, old Haldeman, you all knew Haldeman, didn't you? Sleazy pimp, where did I lost my line thinking about that. A Las Vegas pimp in Casino. Once Upon a Time in America, Onion Field, Killer, A Journal of Murder, and his creation of Hades in Disney's Hercules, as well as his acclaimed television performances in Indictment, The McMartin Trial, HBO's Citizen Cohen, and his Emmy-winning work in which he captured the ruthless essence of McCarthy, the McCarthy counsel Roy Cohen. And let's not forget his Emmy-winning work in Promise and My Name is Bill W. James next stars in John Carpenter's Vampires, opening. All right. How did I know you were going to pop out on that one? I just kind of felt it right down here. I knew it, and over here, I knew it was going to happen. But you're going to get a chance to see that. It opens October 30th. The movie, by the way, will be screened here tonight at the Galaxy. Now, he stars opposite Melanie Griffith in Another Day in Paradise. And to that, I say any day spent with Melanie Griffith would be a day in paradise. I think I can say that. Coming to your movie screen soon, James will be seen with Kathleen Turner in Virgin Suicides. And shortly he will be seen starring in Clint Eastwood's True Crime and with John Travolta in The General's Daughter. And of course, reteaming again with Oliver Stone in On Any Given Sunday. Sometimes a movie role turns into a real-life conviction. Such was the case when he played the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous in My Name is Bill W. Alcoholic recovery experts have termed this drama a most powerful recruiting tool for sobriety. It's made its video release possible by foregoing his profit participation in the home video, so that free videos, free tapes, could be provided to AA chapters throughout America. And I think that's a wonderful thing, I really do. He also makes himself available to any kind of participation that will make life better for those who really need it. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a welcome for Mr. James Woods as we welcome him to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. A gentleman here that you all know, you have been applauding for it, and I know you're going to do the same thing when I mention his name again. He's going to talk to you a little about James Woods. He's one of Hollywood's greatest filmmakers, and aptly called the Master of Terror. His box office hits and Academy Award-winning films include Starman, Escape from New York, Halloween, and the most anticipated film this fall, John Carpenter's Vampires. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, John Carpenter.
Inventive, original, and intense, Jimmy Woods is the best thing an actor can aspire to be. A character star. The star part means audiences watch his movies because they know he's going to give them a great ride. The character part means each performance is surprising, new, and distinct. This is what Jimmy Woods does with a wonderful fury. I directed Jimmy in my new film, Vampires. He plays an action hero. I wanted somebody who was as tough as the vampires, and I got it. On the set, he never rehearsed a scene he couldn't steal, never met another actor he couldn't upstage, never picked up a prop or grabbed a piece of set dressing he couldn't manipulate, and hurled at the narrative with gleeful abandon. And as soon as I get permission from my therapist, I can't wait to work with him again. This star being unveiled tonight pays tribute to one important truth. James Woods is a great actor. Original, intelligent, essential. The characters he has played burn themselves into your memory. I'm delighted to be here and to pay tribute to one of the finest actors I've ever worked with, James Woods.
Well, I'm really happy to introduce this young lady, and I'll tell you why. Her mother called me one day and said, my daughter is making her first public appearance, and she's going to be in a charity fashion show. And we went out to Bullock's in Sherman Oaks, and all of a sudden I said, oh my God, I've never seen anything that beautiful. And I said, she's got to be a movie star. And it wasn't long before she was doing so well. And let me just mention that some of the films you've seen her in, she's been nominated, of course, for an Academy Award for her role in Working Girl. Yes. Nobody's Fool, Mulholland Falls, Body Double, Night Moves, the Milagro Beanfield War, and will soon be seen right along beside James in Another Day in Paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Griffith, right here.
I just wanted to tell you that working with Mr. Woods is an experience that I liken to being pregnant. It's, in the beginning, you're over the moon with excitement, and in the middle, you kind of start to wonder if maybe every single choice that you've made is wrong, and by the end, you just want it to be over with. It's kind of like hello is a problem if it comes before goodbye. And then the project comes to life, and it's as if the pain and the suffering never happened, and you cannot wait to work with Jimmy again. I've made 3 movies with Mr. Woods. Night Moves, directed by Arthur Penn, was our first movie. And yours too, right? And that was 25 years ago. And then we did Hills Like White Elephants, directed by Tony Richardson. And last but not least, Another Day in Paradise, which hasn't come out yet, but he is truly awesome in it. It's not easy working with Jimmy. No, it is not easy working with a brilliant mind that thinks at the speed of light. It's not easy working with a creative genius who always finds a way to take the scene to a higher level. And when I look at photographs of intense labor, the baby, the birth, the doctors, I don't see the pain. I only see the moment when I am so close to greatness. And that's the same as working with Jimmy. So, congratulations.
I'm so glad Antonio isn't here. I can hug her an extra 3 seconds without dying.
I have a resolution here from the Los Angeles City, signed by everybody down there, which is a miracle because those people don't agree on anything. But on James Woods, they do agree. Let me just read the now therefore part of it. Now therefore be it resolved that by the adoption of this resolution, the City Council of the City of Los Angeles, along with the Mayor, join Council Member Jackie Goldberg in congratulating James Woods on this special occasion of receiving his star on the world-famous Hollywood Walk of Fame. And as the honorary mayor of Hollywood, I hereby proclaim this James Woods Day in Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, James Woods.
You know, the first time I worked with Melanie, she was 15 years old. And she walked out in a little bikini in the first scene, and I thought, oh my God. I wonder what it's going to be like when she looks like that and the voice changes. Well, the great thing is she still looks like that and the voice hasn't changed at all. And she is truly one of the most delightful, inventive, creative, charming actors I have ever worked with in my life. I hope we get to do years more of work together. And as for John, first day I was on the set of Vampires, I said to him, John, in this scene, what do you think I should do? Should I? He said, stop. I said, what? He said, I don't care what you do. This is my last movie. I'm retiring after this. Just say the words, try not to drag in the scene, and everything will be fine. So I said, well, okay, I guess so. You know, I'm the great John Carpenter. I wanted to work with this guy forever. And, you know, after about a week of this, I turned to him one day and I said, can I ask you a question? How long have you been saying this is your last film? He said, since Halloween. So I knew he was there to stay as well, and two people who've really made my life great, and what you both said really moved me a tremendous deal. I mean, it's, you know, they always tease you when they're working with you, and then all of a sudden they say these things about you, and you're kind of at a loss because you're not used to being tortured by them, so it's a really tough thing. 30 years ago this month, actually last month, a friend of mine gave me a ride from Rhode Island to the George Washington Bridge, September 5th, 1968. And I decided I was going to become an actor. And I didn't know anybody in the business. I'm probably one of the few people in this business who is not related to anybody. And I was, you know, like I look now, only probably worse then. And I decided I was going to, maybe if I were really lucky, get a job working off Broadway and have a little career as a theater actor. And I, you know, had all the stuff that people go through when they're young, struggling actors. I mean, my first apartment was $28 a month, and I remember I came home one day about in New York, and I walked up, and not the door, but the wall separating my apartment from the hallway had been knocked in with a sledgehammer, and some guy had stolen this $15 fan I had. I thought, man, this is going to be a tough uphill road. And indeed, in many ways it has, but I remember one of the very first jobs I did, I was doing South Pacific at Jones Beach. I literally had to make my entrance by speedboat doing this play. Playing a guy with like a hula skirt on and a sailor hat. And I remember one night when we were doing a performance was the first night that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. And they stopped the play, and they had this big screen up, and they really grainy image, and they projected it to the whole audience. And we all stood there, and I actually watched a man walk on the moon. And I can tell you, that was 30 years ago. At that time, that moon seemed closer to me than the possibility of what this star seems like tonight. I never thought it would be possible that I'd be here. I never thought it'd be possible that people whom I have admired all my life since, like John Carpenter, Melanie Griffith, and a lot of my great friends and family who are here, would ever make it possible. And most of all, like all of you have made it possible, because you're all my bosses. You know, you're the ones who pay my salary and make it possible for me to have honors like this and to be able to do what I love to do more than anything on earth. You know, Sigmund Freud was once asked, what does a man need in his life to be happy? They said man in those days instead of person, but I think he meant for men and women. But what the answer was in German was arbeiten und lieben, which means to work and to love. And I've been very fortunate because I've had, like everybody has in his or her life, ups and downs. I mean, you don't get a star in Hollywood Boulevard after 30 minutes of work. It's usually 20 or 30 years, and I've been at it 30 years, and I'll tell you, there's been some ups and there's been some downs. There have been great moments, like doing, you know, Promise and My Name is Bill W. and Salvador, Once Upon a Time in America, and Vampires, and Another Day in Paradise. I mean, I've had great experiences. I've had harsh experiences too. You've all read about the divorces and all that stuff. But I've had to work, and in fact, I'm happy to say one of my ex-wives, not the Antichrist, the good one, is here tonight. There were two. And I mean, you know, when your mother and your brother and your aunt and your ex-wife and your friends and your agents and everybody are here, and all your fans, you know, it really makes you realize that you have work and you have love, and one feeds the other. I remember I was sitting on the set of My Name is Bill W., and it was a real low point in the personal life. I won't go into it, but let's just say that I was on the cover of People magazine with Sean Young and my then girlfriend, and the headline was Fatal Attraction, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God. And Jim Garner, who always has a way of looking at life the way it should be told, leans over and says, well, kid, you're finally a leading man. So sometimes it takes adversity and sometimes success, but when it comes to the love part, I told the story on the radio this morning. I'd forgotten about it, but I just want to share it with those of you who are here tonight. My mother who's here and my brother who's here. And, you know, my dad, God rest his soul, died when I was 12, my brother was 3, and my mom did what a lot of single parents have to do. You know, she just worked hard to make sure her sons got dressed and clothed and went to college and did all the things that you need to do to get a start in life. And I was in my year at MIT, and I decided to quit to become an actor. And I had to make that really tough phone call to the woman who'd worked a lot to put us through school. And I said, Mom, I'm thinking of leaving school and becoming an actor. And as I said this morning, during the longest pause in telephonic communication, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be a bad moment. She said, let me tell you something. When I was 19 years old, I wanted to marry your father, and everybody said, you're too young and you shouldn't do it. And she said, I did. And 2 years later, I had you. And 10 years after that, I had Mike. And the decision I made from my heart was the greatest decision I ever made, because even though your father died, I had unbelievable years of happiness. And we're a small family, but we've held together. My brother may have blown up my model boats because I wouldn't let him touch them, but, you know, I mean, throughout my life, he has been the friend and the blood that has kept me strong. And whenever I needed somebody to talk to, he was there and she was there. And that expands out through your life. You know, I've had all the people I've worked with, and I have tremendous friends in the business. I can't name them all, and I don't want to go through what people do at the Oscars when they bore you by doing that, but they know who they are. And I'm fortunate to say that when they said, do you have a list of friends you want to come? Most of my friends that came tonight actually aren't known in the business, aren't famous and so on, but they're friends who just like me because they like to take my money at golf or come to my house and eat smoked salmon off paper plates. But finally and mostly, when Johnny Grant and the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce were kind enough to honor me for this, through my publicist Dick Gunn, with the support of Columbia Pictures for showing Vampires tonight, what they did was they let the world know and hoped that my fans would show up. And the bottom line is, I'm nobody without all of you. You're all standing out here on Hollywood Boulevard. It's in the middle of the late afternoon. You guys pay my salary. You've always supported my movies. And when I see an actor say, oh, he doesn't have time for autographs, or he doesn't have time for a smile or a handshake, to the people who make it possible for him to stand up here and have a like this, believe me, they're on the wrong track. This is the right track. You are the people who have made my life possible, and I hope I can continue to serve you for many years to come. You know, the movies tonight, I hope you have a great time, and I want to thank all of you very much, because after that long 30-year walk from the moon to the stars, I have my family, my friends, those in the business. I see my sweet little agent here, Tony Howard. She looks so sweet, tiny, and she's a bulldog, actually, in a little agent suit, you know. And I think of all the people who supported me throughout my life, and that long voyage was propelled by the love and the support and the joy I have of being an actor. I love acting. I will do it as long as you will all let me. Every time I sit on the stage, I may be tough, but like Dustin Hoffman said, nobody minds but neurosurgeons and airplane pilots are perfectionists. I promise to stay tough in the business as long as I can, give the best performances I can, and I hope you'll all keep coming to see my movies, because I'm there to make them for all of you. Thank you very much.
I'll tell you something. After that speech, I would vote for him for anything, wouldn't you? I mean, anything. Well, we're going to invite all of the participants to join us down here now and unveil the star.
You see that, baby?
And you just get one and somebody
I could say a little bit, but
Well, we got out right here.
the store is right here. We did see that.
Well, I'm gonna go to back. Nanny's back here too. I've seen enough.
Could see through there.
I've got free parking, so
Let me know if you see where they're passing them out. I'll snag me.
they'll beat the crowd.
I'm here for it.
It would probably, I guess, I know how they would handle something like that. So this is for 6 o'clock. Presentation is usually around 30.
Yeah.
He did say that. He said, I want to get back to the people. No se puede por eso cerrar por de qué lado, ¿no?